Hi, I'm Brenda Quintana, coming to you from the Beehive. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute little note card with this little toad on it using the Your Sublime stamp set. This stamp set has a lot of cute little images with matching greetings that make it perfect for use with these note cards. So let me show you how to make this card. To start off with, you're going to need some Whisper White note cards and envelopes. I'm going to take one of the cards out, and if you don't have a note card, you can make one by cutting a piece of cardstock to 7 inches by 5 inches and scoring it in half at the 3.5 inch mark. We're going to use the card in the horizontal position, so I'm just going to place it down here in the corner for a moment. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a little strip, a little heart border to go across the card. And I've cut a piece of cucumber crush cardstock to 5 inches by 1/2 inch, and I've got here my hearts border punch. And I'm just going to slide this piece into my punch, and I'm going to center it right on this platform right here. And once you've got it centered and pushed all the way to the back, you're going to punch it. And then I'm going to slide it to one side, and I've got 4 hearts punched. So you're going to want one of those hearts to be tucked underneath, and then you're going to line up 2 of the hearts here on the side with the little metallic hearts, and then you're going to go ahead and punch. And then you're going to do the same thing for the other side. You're going to look for that last heart that is showing here, and you're going to put that kind of halfway underneath, and then line up the next 2 with these little metallic hearts, and then you're going to give it another punch. And then you have your little heart strip. This is going to help us align the stamped images. So I'm going to want this heart border about 1 inch from the bottom. So I'm just going to place that here for now, just in case I mess up my stamping. I haven't already glued down my heart border and I can use it on another card. So now we're going to stamp the images, and I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad and the toad. And what I did to make this a little bit easier is I actually cut apart the toad from its greeting. So originally this was right underneath. There is plenty of room to get a scissor in between there, and I just cut in between there. It makes stamping these images separately a whole lot easier. So don't feel like you can't cut apart your stamp. I can still stamp this together. I just put it together on a block, and then you can still stamp it together, but now I can also stamp them separately. So I'm going to open up my ink pad here, and I'm going to just hold it in one hand and tap it to ink my toad up. And then I'm going to stamp him over on the left hand side just above the border like that. And then I'm going to ink up the little matching greeting, totally awesome, and I'm going to stamp that right underneath like that. You can set your ink pad aside, and now we want to color this little toad. And I have in the past used aqua painters and glycerin to watercolor. Today I wanted to try a slightly different way of watercoloring. I typically haven't used blender pens very often because I find them a little dry. You can do really nice coloring with them. It's just a preference that I use aqua painters. But when I add a little glycerin and re-inker and use them with my blender pens, I'm so much happier. It gives it just a little bit more of an inky feel. I can slide around the ink a little better. So if you're not familiar with my little technique, you can get a bottle of glycerin at the pharmacy. Even craft stores sell glycerin in their baking section. It's less than $10 a bottle, and a bottle will last you forever. So I've just put a drop of the glycerin here. It's kind of it's a little thicker than water. It's kind of gel-like, but not quite a gel, in between a gel and a water. And then I've also put a drop of my Cucumber Crush re-inker right on this little lid right here. And you will want to use a separate lid. Sometimes we watercolor right off of the top of our ink pads, but because you're using glycerin, you don't want to introduce any glycerin onto your ink pad surface. You want to use a different surface. The formula for a blender pen actually includes some glycerin in it, so it's really easy to clean the glycerin off the tip of the blender pen afterwards with a tissue, so don't worry about messing up your blender pens. But if you want, you can designate one end just to be using with the glycerin and the reinker. So basically what I do is I dip my tip into the glycerin and then I bring it over into my reinker. And then I just start in one end. You can also test out to see how much green you have. And if you want to make it a little darker, add a little bit more reinker. I'm going to start off on the foot and just kind of brush this. I'm just going to use little circles to start coloring around my image. I know this is getting a little lighter, so I'm going to bring in a little bit more, test it out. If you want, you can leave a little bit of a white space in the center. So just don't color there and just kind of move around. You can always go back and add more color afterwards. And then come down and do his little hand. You're just kind of blending the color along. Like that. Let's do the little foot. Like that. So now I want to come in and I want to darken up some spots, like the little spots here. You could do them in a different color too, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to use the same color and just make it a little darker than my other ones, just a little less glycerin and a little bit more reinker. If you want, you can also make your feet a little darker. Come back in and make the feet a little darker if you wish. Or his little hands, can make those a little darker, like that. Isn't he cute? Okay, and then when you're done, you'll just want to clean off. I just have a tissue here, and I'm just going to kind of squeeze the tip gently between my fingers until I notice that it's no longer releasing any color off. That looks good. Then I'll just recap my blender pen. And then I'm going to use some Tombow to glue my heart border on here. Just take a little bit. Like that. And then you can just glue this right along in between your image and your greeting. Like that. Then take your bone folder and fold the card along the score line and smooth it out with your bone folder. And there you go. You've got your little toad card. Here's the one that I made earlier. And I also made one using this little crab, and it says, "I have a snappy day." So really, you could take any one of these images and do the exact same card. Use a different color, if you wish, of the cardstock. You see, I did Watermelon Wonder for this little crab. It's from the same in color group. And you could do that with any of these images, and you could make yourself a little note card set. Aren't these just adorable? All the supplies you'll need to make this note card are available for purchase on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye for now.